Welcome to the Filmcast review of Avatar Fire and Ash. I'm going to read the plot summary of this movie from IMDb. Jake and Neytiri's family grapples with grief after Neteyam's death, encountering a new aggressive Na'vi tribe, the Ash people, who are led by the fiery Varong, as the conflict on Pandora escalates and a new moral focus emerges. End quote. Today on the podcast, we're going to start with Jeff Kanata. Jeff, you have been this podcast's greatest advocate for the Avatar franchise. And at last, it finally seems that after many, many years of wait, we are finally in an era where Avatar movies seem to be coming out on a somewhat regular basis. So, Jeff,
like a normal franchise, yeah.
Very curious, what did you think of Avatar Fire and Ash?
Well, Dave, I guess you could say what I thought of Avatar Fire and Ash is best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Let's hear it, Jeff.
A remarkable vision to see, but I know what Dave's quibbles will be. It's all a retread. Quaritch should be dead. But this time, I might just agree.
What?
Here's what I think.
Really shocking to hear myself. It's like breaking the fourth wall of the...
I will say it's also undeniable. So yes, go ahead, Jeff.
Here's what I think about this movie. This movie is 3 hours and 20 minutes long.
Yes.
I think there's an entire long movie's worth of awesome in this. I think the first 2 hours of this movie are awesome. I loved the first 2 hours. I think the third hour is a disappointment to me. And that's such a bummer because there's so much cool happening in this movie. I sat down for this so excited, and it started in 3D, and the first thing that happens in this movie is you are transported. You're seeing these new sort of flying Zeppelin-like situation. And I was like, this is what I love about this. It's like I cracked open the next volume in my favorite fantasy book series.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this franchise gets to be a fantasy series and a sci-fi series all at once. The vision of the world, the design is so mind-blowing, and there's this incredible action sequence that kicks off the movie that feels like the third act of most other movies.
Mm-hmm.
It is on a scale that is really most movies aspire to. And here we're just like in the first few minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of characters.
It was good. I like that one as well a lot. That was a good action scene.
It's incredible. And like there's all these new ideas and just kind of this new tapestry. And I'm like, this is what I love about fantasy. It's like cracking open the new book series where it's like, I know where I am. I know this thing, but there's new layers and there's new stuff. And there's kind of all this awesome developments that happen. And I was sitting there going, Dave got so mad that Quaritch is still alive in the second movie. And like, there's a sequence, in the sort of middle of this movie where Quaritch meets this new character, and I was like, this is why Quaritch is still alive. Like, fuck you, Dave. This is so awesome. This is so rad. This is...
You're saying fuck you, Dave, during the movie. Jesus.
Yeah. Everybody around me is like, who's Dave and why are you talking so loud? And like there's this new faction is so exciting. And the visuals of them sort of dancing in the fire and the way the fire illuminates them and this new character Varang and the actor who plays it's just incredible. And I was like, I'm back in it. I'm in love with it. There's so many cool things happening. The visuals of the sci-fi stuff, like there's this new sort of map tech where the people are walking through the map.
Oh, good
it's
shit.
Insane looking, and it looks amazing in 3D. And
it's like a 3D holographic map that's like as large as actual humans are, and they're like standing in the middle of the map, like physically, basically.
And the way it's shot, like, emphasizes how cool it is. Like, he knows how to shoot that technology to really maximize the cool factor. And it's like, nobody else could make this movie. Like there's like, you just can't see this kind of spectacle. It's just, I love this. And then basically nothing happens.
It just keeps going.
There's another whole hour where it really does just completely retread the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing is moved forward. We no spoilers yet, but we sort of end this movie no further along than we started this movie.
It is in fact impossible to spoil this movie. I made this joke before, but yeah.
I mean, go
Jeff.
Spoiler. But
Jeff, finish what you're saying.
The notion that he needed to write these movies led me to believe that there was a progression of where this family is going and these characters and this world and what's next and how and I can't help but wonder, he talks so much in all these interviews lately about how like he changed so much of it after Way of Water came out because of what the audience reacted to. And there's this whole subplot with whales that I think is a lot of that. And it's like unnecessary. I didn't like it. I wonder if the movie was better on the page at some point, or it actually pushed things forward at some point. But this feels like really, the last hour just feels like we're on this treadmill of nothing. And all the cool stuff that's set up in the first 2 hours kind of gets jettisoned. And we get this weird side plot that I will go into in spoilers that I think doesn't really work. And the coolest new character gets completely sidelined and we don't even pay attention to her anymore. And it's like, what are we doing? I was in it. I was loving it. It was awesome. There was so much cool. And ultimately, it felt like this one was a disappointment because it just did the same beats over again. Now, that said, the visuals remain unparalleled. Like,
yeah, let's talk a little about that, Jeff. How did you watched it in 3D IMAX HFR is my guess, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Devindra, are you the same?
I watched it in the Dolby Theater HFR though.
In HFR. I hated my 3D IMAX HFR experience for The Way of Water when I watched it because I just found it so distracting. So I was like, I want to find the most basic ass experience. But this is
the way he intends.
I can.
It's what the artist wants.
So I wanted to watch it in 2D, 24 frames per second the whole time. I did not succeed at that. Like I thought that's what I was getting. But I actually ended up buying a 2D HFR. Like I did not know that the screen was playing it in HFR. So that means that what happens is as you're watching the movie, it switches frequently between 24 frames per second and a higher frame rate.
Oh, so you got the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, that's the worst.
I don't have a problem with the high frame rate sequences at all. I love the way it looks in 3D, and I think that is the use of HFR is to make the 3D high action moments work better. I think it looks better than, for example, The Hobbit looked.
That I agree with for sure.
So I know a lot of people have major gripes about that, and fair enough. But that is not something that bothers me at all. I think the look of this movie is exquisite. I continue to be amazed at the technical wizardry on display. The water stuff is still spectacular, but I think just pure plot wise, it just doesn't push anything forward. And it feels like we end this movie almost exactly the same place that we started it.
Yes.
And that's kind of unforgivable for a franchise like this. Like you want it to feel like I'm looking forward to number 4 and number 5. And why do we need to have so many of these? Because there's this ongoing saga, and it doesn't feel like there's an ongoing saga. It feels like it's just the same characters bumping into each other. And there's moments that really feel like, there's this opportunity for something completely, a dynamic change. And I feel like it's really squandered. And we'll get into all that in spoilers. But ultimately, I'm still grateful I get to see this kind of vision I don't think there's very many filmmakers that could execute on this level, and there are still amazing moments. I mean, even toward the end, like, there's this sci-fi stuff that starts happening, and they like introduce all these new vehicles, and I'm like, what? That's insanity! Just the pure design layer is awesome.
Right.
I just want the reason to be spending 3 hours and 20 minutes of my life here. Like a 2-hour movie would have been pretty fun. I think it would have been great. And it feels like it's spinning its wheels a bit.
Welcome to the Resistance, Jeff. Devindra Hardawar, your thoughts on Avatar: Fire and Ash?
Shockingly, I think Jeff pretty much said it all. I hear you on the good stuff. It is wild to see somebody working at this scale, and I think Cameron's like one of the few directors that can really has the leverage to do this, to convince the studio to spend a shit ton of money on this insane project, and he's proven that it makes money. So I guess that totally works out. But yeah, I think about halfway through this movie, I was like, man, this is so good. Where are we going? What's going on here? Check, please. I did feel like I wanted to like wrap up not just this movie, but my entire time in Pandora, because there were just like things running through my head. Hey, let's look at the I think you should leave car sketch, right? Because I'm thinking of quotes from that. You have no good Avatar ideas. I just want a movie where the frame rate doesn't fly off the wheels. Like stinky at several points in this movie. This movie is it's kind of a mess, and I've read the backstory too. Like, it was essentially Way of Water. They basically cut Way of Water in half, the original script, to turn them into two separate movies. And I think you can kind of feel that,
right?
Which is why
you could definitely feel it for Way of Water, which felt like an incomplete film. Like, it felt like it just stopped the story like midway through. Yeah, right. One of my many issues with that film.
And then they've had years to work on this, so like they didn't have to figure out a better way to sort of like wrap this story up. Why are we doing water stuff again in the big finale? Like, give me something new. We get some more look at the human base in this movie than I think we ever have before. But I think ultimately, like you said, Jeff, this pushes nothing forward. Like, there is. Give me something more. Give me, like, it's the Na'vi are still mostly the resistance people. We see an evil clan now who have their own reason for why they are, but the humans aren't very different. There's the overall like conflict of the story doesn't make sense anymore because it's just what they've been fighting in the last movie. Quaritch coming back again. Listen, if you did this in the second movie, there's like no excuse. They have the technology. They could just ship another body down. Sure, whatever. But he doesn't do anything different, really. Like, it's all such a retread. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what are all these resources being used for? Like, what in service of what? What are we moving towards? And it just feels like, James Cameron had this dream when he was a teenager. Of this world of the giant blue people and the world of Pandora. He wrote the initial script in the 90s. Like, he's been thinking of this for so long, and apparently it's made, like, the opening weekend has been really good. So I guess this one's going to make a ton of money too. It's just, I would love to see him do something different. I'd love to be out of Pandora, honestly. Like, do a Planet of the Apes thing where the Na'vi maybe are on Earth at some point. Like, change it up. Give me something new, because it doesn't feel like we're doing much different here.
Right.
And it's a shame.
Follow the Planet of the Apes path in the sequel. Yes. Blow up Pandora.
Yes.
Right? Time travel the Na'vi back in time. Anyway.
Anyway, I will say the visual still on point. The water effects, they developed whole new water technology for Way of Water, like virtualized water. Still looks incredible. Every moment where the sun goes behind the planet, because Pandora is a moon world, sick as shit. Like, just the eclipse is incredible. Una Chaplin as the new character, man, she made me feel things. We will talk about that in spoilers, but like, she is very good.
Yeah.
Why don't we do more with them? Like, what it feels really. I was really confused, like, what was going on the last hour of this movie, because it feels like we built up something, and then we kind of whiffed it all to do the thing we did in the last movie.
Yep.
Well, guys, first of all, I for one welcome your extremely balanced, even-handed takes on Avatar: Fire and Ash. And I regret to inform you that I must go way even more negative than you guys on this.
Well, I'm not even surprised by this.
Sorry about this. I apologize in advance, but the movie is bad, and James Cameron should feel bad. And let me start with some of the things I liked about the film. Okay, number one, everything that's bad about the film is also an issue I had with Avatar: The Way of Water, right? And that makes sense because they were perhaps at one point the same movie, right?
Yeah.
But everything that I don't like about this one is not like a new thing that was introduced in this one. You know what I'm saying? Like all the issues I had with Way of Water are basically just still here. And the fact that I've now spent 5.5 hours of my life, post Avatar 1 kind of engaging in this world is what makes me, very disenchanted with it. Una Chaplin, as you guys said, is awesome in this film. Like she is so good. It's like, I understand why people in real life dress up as Na'vi now. I get it. I understand why they put on the Na'vi paint and, try to be Na'vi because of performances like what Una Chaplin does in this movie. It's incredible. And then the visuals, I think you guys are spot on. Like there are movies that come out every now and then by people like Christopher Nolan and James Cameron, and like these people who are like literally pushing the bounds of what is possible with cinema forward, and pushing the bounds like outward, in a way that is really interesting and compelling. The photorealism is often very good. As you said, Devindra, they came up with all this water technology for the second film, and I assume some fire technology for this one, right? Of which there is a decent amount of fire going on. And so, yeah, those are some of like top level, some of the things I appreciate about the film. A handful of the action scenes and beats are also really cool. And you're like, oh, wow, that's so badass. That's so cool. Having said all that, I think, in my opinion, other than the action, these movies accomplish very little. And when I say these movies, I'm referring to like 2 and 3. I kind of think of them as one unit. These movies accomplish very little. First of all, I regret to say, I think your enjoyment of this film, Avatar: Fire and Ash, is going to be heavily dependent on how attached you were to the character of Spider from the second film.
Awful character.
And if you are like me, who thinks that character is as annoying as shit, and I don't even want to spend 3 minutes with that person. Like, I wouldn't even want to hang with that person. Like, I want to be in the room. If I was in the room with that person, I would leave the room.
Yeah.
And the idea that like, oh, the entire emotional core of this film hinges on that character, doesn't work for me. Now, if you are different, totally fine. Like, I'm not saying, if you are attached to Spider, I'm not looking down on you or anything, but I'm like, for me, that does not work. Right.
The thing I'll say this about Spider, by the way, like the thing about that character is James Cameron already had his own stand-in for the world of Pandora, and that's Jake Sully.
Yes.
A bland, boring character. And then we got Spider, a Tarzan character was a teenager running around and like, his skivvies like most of the second movie. Like, the character never made any sense. I think the actor is doing what he can with it, but it is clearly like James Cameron wishing he was on the world of Pandora when he was a teenager, and I cannot like escape that. Yeah.
I think, and the Quaritch stuff really does not work for me at all. I don't want to relitigate it, but when Quaritch came back for the second one, I thought that was ridiculous because I thought to myself, the whole point of Avatar 1 was that Jake Sully's twin had to come back because it was his DNA and shit, and it was a huge, like, they can't just make up another one, like, and I guess 15 years have passed in the two films, and so like, okay, maybe they can whip up those Na'vi avatars much more easily now, I guess, but it made this, first of all, it made the first film less special retroactively, and secondly, in my opinion, there's very little that Quaritch's return accomplishes that wasn't already accomplished by either Quaritch V1 or Jake Sully himself, right? The idea of like, Quaritch, can't you see the beauty of, the Way of Water and all these other, it's like, Jake already had that journey in Avatar 1. We already went through that journey. And yes, Quaritch is like a much more hardcore version of Jake. And so maybe there's something potentially interesting in that character, like finding Awa. But it was already repetitive from the jump, in my opinion.
The only retort I would have is that Stephen Lang is so good.
He is really good. I love Stephen Lang.
It's so fun to watch him work.
And I actually like him more in this one than the second one.
He's
I think
so good in this movie.
He has some great moments in this one. Some really fun moments in this one. But ultimately, guys, like, we can get to more details in the spoilers, but I think that by the way, I was thinking to myself, so this guy keeps failing. He's the one guy that has definitely shown he cannot defeat these people, and they're just going to keep throwing resources at him. And then I was thinking, I guess that's probably the most realistic part of these movies.
That's Hollywood, baby. Yeah,
not even Hollywood, politics. Whatever you want to call it, institutions. I think more to say in spoilers, but the overall feeling I have is that I think any kind of message. I mean, I had your reaction, Jeff, which is like James Cameron had this whole thing of, I can tell all the stories I want to tell in the world of Pandora. Like James Cameron's like, I don't need to make other movies. I don't need to make other Terminators or other True Lies movies. I can tell all the stories I want to tell in the world of Pandora. At this point, David Chen, do not understand what he was talking about. Like, I do not understand either his artistic ambitions lessened dramatically in the post-Avatar time period, or something has failed in his attempt to convey what he's trying to convey. Let's just take like the idea of environmentalism, which was such a huge part of the first film. And I think, these films, number 2 and 3, are very concerned with the idea of like preservation and like they have a very clear like anti-whaling message as an example, right? And all of that, I feel like, just gets completely lost in what I see as Cameron's competing desire of, let's have a big old fight, right? Let's have a massive action set piece, which both Way of Water and Fire and Ash conclude. They each conclude with like a massive, big fight. And all those fights have the same characteristics. It's always like nature against like this militaristic hardware. And you can probably predict like how the fight ends. And there's just so much bombast and pyrotechnics, and I think any message of like, hey, we should actually respect the whales more is completely lost. The movie begins with Jake Sully gearing up. He's using guns, right? He's like, hey, I gotta fight these people. He's using guns, and the Na'vi say to him, hey, like, using guns, it like poisons your brain, and you shouldn't use guns. And then by the end of the movie, very mild spoiler, but a lot of guns are used. and the people with like the
maybe
more
I need a grenade arrow. Yeah, maybe that's
like,
useful.
Oh, wow, isn't that kick ass? Like the movie is like makes it seem kick ass. Like I think James Cameron just has these competing views of a grenade attached to an arrow. Like, hey, we should try to respect nature and land and human life and also animal life. Like, that is very important. And also, isn't sticking a grenade on an arrow so fucking badass? Right? Like, these are two competing things that he has in his brain, and it results in a thematically incoherent movie or set of movies.
It's a box of roses, out of which a shotgun emerges.
Oh,
shocking!
The contrast is so poetic, Jeff. Anyway,
it's like making the cop the bad guy. Like, you have a message by doing that. I do want to say, like,
I would argue that was much more coherent than what's here.
That was coherent,
like, in my opinion. In my opinion. Anyway, go ahead.
I think part of the problem may have started happening when they were like practically 10 years after the first Avatar, like, so why did that movie work? And they spend a lot of time like deconstructing the success of Avatar to replicate some of it in The Way of Water. And that's where, like, if you ever had any narrative ambitions, like, to where the story goes, that's where you start to rework things to be like, okay, we're going to repeat this, so the audience is like back with the characters or whatever. I never fully gelled like exactly what they repeated, but it feels like they did that twice. So they both repeated it for Way of Water, and then they tried to repeat what worked in Way of Water here. And it's just like it's like homeopathic action movie. Like you're getting away from the source of what made it good. Is dilution.
I will say that there are some germs of ideas in Avatar: Fire and Ash that I can imagine. Oh, if they had taken this and developed this further, it could have been interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Una Chaplin's character being one big example. Ideas about fatherhood, about adoption. Like these are all ideas that are about being connected to nature. These are all ideas that are in this movie that are all mixed in together in this big hodgepodge. And also there's a lot of action that involves killing and explosions thrown in for good measure. And I just don't think any of it really lands, at least for me. So I consider these two movies like to be taken as one unit, and I was not a fan of them. That said, I've said some things I like about them and a lot of things I don't like. But I think we should get to spoilers, guys. So let's talk about spoilers.
Let me just say, I think I maintain that the second movie is awesome.
I did like the second one a lot more. Yeah.
And maybe my favorite of the three is the second, perhaps. I mean, the first one I've seen the most times. That said, I think, the difference for me is that I'm mourning something that I thought had the potential to be transcendent, and you're tap dancing a little bit, and that's fine.
I don't think I'm sorry if it comes across. I think it's more like, for me, this movie confirms what because I feel like I don't remember too much about our chat, but I feel like I remember
a lot about our chat about Way of Water, and I thought you were a little harsh on that.
I tried to I remember myself being very tempered. I was like, I can't like let loose on this one because this is so important to the other guys. But now I'm like,
no, I don't. That's not what happened.
No,
okay,
not at all.
I think the thing the thing that you keep saying that I don't resonate with is that you take these two movies as one thought or as one film, and regardless of the veracity of the script, being cut in half or whatever, I don't see that as true. I mean, it doesn't resonate with me because it feels like these movies are doing the same thing. And that doesn't feel like two movies that should be taken as one. It feels like, this is like how sequels had been through my childhood, where a sequel, we have lived through a time when sequels are sort of thought about as the first movie is being made. This idea that he sat down and wrote 2, 3, 4, and 5 all, with the same writing team, and they're like that notion to me is very exciting. But when I was a kid, a sequel was like, hey, make another one of those.
Right.
Make that same movie. Give the audience that same thing again.
Yeah. This is very much in that vein.
It feels like that. And that's why I don't feel like, these two movies are sort of one unit. It feels like what I dislike is that these two movies feel redundant. Like the third movie feels redundant. It feels like all of the new cool stuff we get is jettisoned by the end to get back to doing what the second one did.
Right.
And that is such a bummer. Like, I thought when it was like the Way of Water and then the third one's Fire and Ash, it's like, we're getting these kind of sort of elemental segments of Pandora that are going to be wildly different from each other. Like we did Water in number 2. Now our set piece is going to be on a fucking volcano or something.
Go back to the volcano. Yeah.
We're going to be in Fireland. And it's like, well, there's fire
some
stuff.
Some of that, yeah.
But by the end, we're just doing what the second movie did again.
I agree.
And so,
that's... Well, Jeff, let me just explain myself before we move on to spoilers, which is, I just mean from a story perspective, right? Like, we're introduced to the Quaritch Na'vi version in the first one, and I think in this one, and his relationship with Spider, and I think in this one that finally.
But it's all the same shit.
We're introduced to young version of Sigourney Weaver in the second one, and then like this one, it finally it quote unquote pays off whatever was going on there. Right?
I disagree. I think that what pays off. I think the Spider Quaritch thing is paid off at the end of 2.
Let's just talk about
when Spider saves Quaritch at the end of 2. Yeah. At the end of Way of Water, Spider decides to save Quaritch, and despite the fact that all your problems would go away if Quaritch was dead, he does the honorable thing. And it's like, well, now we're relitigating the Spider Quaritch relationship.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that's all redundant.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I guess in that way, I'm even more charitable to the movie than you are. You know, I'm like, oh, they brought up these threads in 2 and they're resolving them in 3. That's kind of how it is in my head. But I don't disagree with anything you've said. But anyway, let's get to spoilers, guys. Spoilers for Avatar Fire and Ash starting right now. I think I really started to lose the plot when he decides to become Taruk Mokta again, which is the big decision at the end of the first film.
Right.
And then they literally show what looks like the same shots from, or the same like angles from the first film of him, you know, and his son's narrating, and he rounded up all the, and he gave these inspiring speeches. And I'm like, we've literally seen this exact thing happen before, and it was at the end of the first film. Jeff, go ahead. You're muted. I think.
Yeah. No, I was agreeing vociferously, muted. It is. It's frustrating because you're absolutely right that the whole, you know, there's nothing new. He just goes to the same playbook again, and we get the same standoff again with the same beats in the standoff again, and even the same sort of, you know, like the stuff in Way of Water with the boats, like fighting on the boats and like taking down the dudes on the boats is so badass. Because I'd never seen that before, and it's just so spectacular. And it's like, no, we're doing the same thing again. The stuff at the beginning of the movie where we're fighting on giant blimps, that's new. That's different. Right. I'm in it. I'm in that. Let's do that. Woohoo! But we're back in the same little gulf with the same dudes trying to kill the same whales with the same harpoons. And like, I get it. I like. It's cool to have little crab machines and submarines and stuff. That was all cool. But like, we're going to have the same resolution, which is appeal to AWA and hope that nature saves our ass. Like, all of it is so redundant.
Right.
And you're right. Even his plan is like, well, I guess I'm going to have to do the crane kick again. It's like, no, you can't just do the crane kick again.
Well, only in much shittier fashion, because Taruk Mokta seems to have almost no impact on the fight at all in this
That's
one.
right.
In the first one, it's like, oh, that's you know, it is a critical part of the plot when he comes back. I also just want to say, yeah, go ahead. You go.
I do like how they fast forward through, and he gave those inspirational speeches. It's like, oh, yeah, you remember, because we spent half an hour doing that in the last 2 weeks. But it's hilarious.
I think, the whole finale part, like, it sounds like really this movie fell apart in the finale. I mean, I just want to say the Varan character is so interesting. I thought they did such a good job with her. Obviously, extremely appealing, let's say. And
she becomes a +1 at the end.
Well,
she's freaking +1.
But also she is one of the Na'vi that wants to make the fire, right? Like most of the Na'vi, they don't want to use the guns, and she's like, show me how to make the fire, which is like really transgressive, obviously.
She's betrayed by her god,
right? And she's betrayed by her god, and that's like a really interesting idea. And then the movie does absolutely nothing with her. I don't even think we have like a perfunctory closing shot of what happened with her.
We don't know where she is at the end of the movie.
Outrageous
at all.
Outrageous.
It's insane. She, like I said, she becomes a +1. She is completely. Quaritch's +1. She's just like, I'm also there. I'm also standing here.
Like, I would already be infuriated if they just teased like, oh, and remember her? She's going to be in the next one. They don't even do that. They don't even do that.
It's wild because they've already shot some of Avatar 4.
Yeah, they've already shot
which
the
is still on
first
track.
act of Avatar 4.
That's coming in 2029, I guess, or
4 years
27.
from now. 4 years from now.
Yeah.
So
just wild.
But it's very frustrating. It's very because that character is so awesome. She's and you just so want to see that.
She turns the most racist man alive to love to want to screw the Na'vi. Like that's an accomplishment.
We also see her when she does the tail joining thing, and it's like upsetting. The way she. Yeah,
it's very
transgressive. I think. Yeah.
Yes. My brain stopped working because I've had no sleep. Paul Thomas Anderson movie this year.
One Battle After Another.
One Battle After Another. Right. Is the guy, the most racist general in the world, like gets it on with the person he's supposed to hate. Like that can be really powerful. We literally saw a movie where that was freaking crazy and awesome, and like. Yeah. it squanders that whole. I thought that scene in her tent
Yes.
was so awesome and so crazy, and like Stephen Lang is doing such good work in this movie, but I don't care about. We have the two
there's
of them.
that amazing moment when she says like "I see you" and he says "You bet your ass you do." Like
Yes.
that was amazing. I love that. I love that.
We also have that movie where he and Sam Worthington have to be on the same side for a little while,
right?
Which is cool. But then
that happens multiple times in this movie. At multiple points, Quaritch is like, "Well, this is awkward."
Yeah,
you have that beat more than once.
Great,
in the
all
same
that stuff's
movie.
Great. So like,
some of it's good.
Do something with it. We literally just reset after that, and we're just on the opposite sides again, and there's nothing learned, nothing gained, nothing moved forward from.
Yeah.
I think also like on a more fundamental level, guys, like one of my issues was I just fundamentally didn't buy that anyone would expend this many resources hunting Sam Worthington. Like I just didn't think it would be that big. Like, and I guess
well, he seems to be going rogue a bit, Quaritch.
Yeah. But even for the second film, right?
Oh.
And I think that it's not that I could never buy that, but I think that the movie did no work to explain. Like you never see the people at the upper echelons of whatever company they're working at. Like you're never made to understand why is it so maniacally important that they get Sam Worthington. I agree with you. It's like he goes rogue a little bit.
My reading is Edie Falco actively does not want that to happen. And Quaritch is like, no, I have this blood vendetta with this guy. And now it's even crazier because he's got my kid. So like, I feel like Edie Falco and Giovanni Ribisi are like, what are we doing? All we care about is the stuff that's no longer unobtainium.
Right. You've gone wrong when the people who are craven capitalists are the refreshingly simple guys who are like, I can actually relate to that point of view. But Jeff, I think that my sense is James Cameron wanted to do something around like, oh, this guy's going to get some kind of show trial or something. Because the idea of was like, oh, they haul him back in these shackles, and James Cameron's like, we got to have people like I want
on
like
social media.
Bulbs. I want flash bulbs going off in social media, and it's like, well, that doesn't make it like we haven't introduced the idea of phones in this world, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like,
and all the humans there are evil. Apparently,
give everyone like a transparent phone, and they all have little flashlights on. And it's like, what is even social media in this world? Like, who cares?
Yeah,
these are questions that, in my opinion, could have been answered. Like he could have created here's what the world is like in the future, and they just never did any of that work to kind of justify why a symbolic victory like getting Sam Worthington back is important at all.
That's right.
And so as a result, I just like, why do we care about
that
any
layer?
Of this
layer of like social commentary about our addiction to phones and celebrity culture and social media. Like it just feels very grafted onto this story in a way that doesn't work at all.
And it could have been a lot of things feel grafted on, right? Like I would say the Quaritch Spider father-son relationship, and even Spider as like an adopted child. I guess you're supposed to get most of that from see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I think you're supposed to understand that from the second film of how important he is, because if you just go by this film, it's like, why are these people sacrificing their whole family for this one dude? It doesn't make any goddamn sense from this film alone. Like, you really need to take the two films as a whole, in my opinion. Yeah, like a lot of these ideas, what's her name?
I don't think that's true. I think we start this movie and everyone's grieving over the death of one of the brothers.
Yes.
And the idea is this adopted son is equally important regardless of his ethnicity. He is equally important to the family as the dead brother. I think the movie, I don't fault it for on that. I don't particularly like hanging out with the Spider character.
Right.
But I don't think you can fault it for not doing that work. It does that work. I mean, I think Zoe Saldana is relegated to doing all of that work in this movie.
I mean, I think, to be clear, I love that as a message. Like, I really support. In fact, we had a very similar film. A film this year did a very similar thing. Superman this year had kind of a very similar idea of like what it means to be an adopted family. I don't know.
And I would argue Predator Badlands does that.
I will acknowledge that maybe it's because of my extreme annoyance of the spider character that it didn't resonate with me. Like maybe that's why.
It's 2025. We're doing Tarzan in the movie. He's essentially Tarzan in Pandora. I'm like, come on, let's. Man, I don't even know what we're doing here. But you guys are right. Like, there were so many opportunities to peel back the layers of whatever this world he's building. The little glimpse we get of like a used up Earth at the beginning of the first Pandora, that's been like in my mind Avatar, for a while. Yeah, the first Avatar. Yeah, that's been in my mind for a long time. Like, oh yeah, we used up all of Earth's resources. Okay, what does that look like? You know, and how does that affect how they treat Pandora?
Apparently, they've built a new Blade Runner Los Angeles on Pandora already in this one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There's a lot of frustrating stuff in this movie, and there's a lot of awesome stuff too. And it just bums me out that it indulges it. Like, and I really hate the Deus Ex Machina of AWA every single time. It's like it's just
right.
You know, it's just AWA is going to swoop in and save it. And
I mean, that literally happens in all 3 films, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, I think you gotta switch up the formula a little bit. You know, you gotta switch up the formula a little bit.
As we were sort of approaching that ending, I was like, oh, this is going to be the one where AWA gives them the middle finger and is like, you know, because there's all this stuff about your God not listening.
Your God has no dominion here, right?
Yeah. And like, I was like, oh, that's how this is going to resolve, is that they're going to be like, AWA, save us. And AWA is going to be like, not anymore. But no, of course it does still.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
The saddest thing about this movie is it makes me lose all interest in the next Avatar movie, which is 4 years away. And it's like, what else are we going to do here? Because we basically spent 2 movies doing the same thing. So I hope there's something new. The fact that they've already shot some footage worries me, because that was shot in the mindset of making these movies, you know, and at least as they were making this one, I'm not a big fan of what they've been doing here.
I'm just going to put this out there. I'm going to be pretty sad when the 4th film begins and you find out Quaritch survived whatever the hell happened to him at the end of this one.
100% survived, dude. That's what happened. Is Varang fucking caught him when he was falling, and he's you know, like that in the middle of the fire. It's obvious what happened. Like, no body, no death.
Yeah.
And I walked out of this going, we're gonna see fucking Quaritch doing the same shit again next movie.
I'm not even opposed to Quaritch coming back as a concept, but it would have been nice to have a non-Quaritch villain for once. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would.
And it's such a badass villain that we had. It's such a badass villain, and she just gets completely sidelined. It's unforgivable. It's like, you built this cool thing. Why not use your toys?
Yeah.
Would have loved to see them do more with the Edie Falco character too, because remember how she was introduced in The Way of Water? Like, freaking Carmela Soprano in a robot suit, hitting a punching bag. Like, what is going on here? So wild.
Dude, and that mech suit that she wears just to be the same height as the Na'vi is pretty rad.
It's super rad. It's wild that you cast Edie Falco to be this grizzled general against Stephen, and she's his superior. And oh man, there's so much you could do with it. And give her some fun times in the final battle. Something. Yeah. We get nothing.
I really enjoyed Jermaine Clement in this one as well.
Sure.
He's fun in this one.
He kind of explains why he was in the second one, because I remember in the second one, like, why is Jermaine Clement here? Why is he here?
Jeff, I know you don't agree, but like, just another thing where like stuff that to me was inexplicable in the second one is now like, oh, okay, I understand why they did that. Like, now that the third film has occurred, you know.
But also he is the only human who's like, hey, maybe this is a bad idea, other than the people helping the Na'vi. Like, there's no like group of humans who are there like, hey, maybe this whole taking over this planet thing and, you know, waging war against its inhabitants is a bad thing. You have a whole ass human city there. They could have explored that concept with too. We get nothing.
Yeah. Well, here's hoping they switch up the formula in 4 years when Avatar returns, which, by the way, guys, I don't know if it will. This is like me with The Acolyte on Disney Plus all over again, in the sense that both The Acolyte and Avatar Fire and Ash are things I kind of hated, but I'm also sad that they didn't succeed, because I think like it's good for the ecosystem. It's good for the universe.
Well,
It's
we
good for,
don't know if this movie it didn't succeed like qualitatively, but it's making money.
It could still do well. It could still do well, but
Yeah.
I mean, this movie
globally,
opened.
it's already
I think
made $400 million.
Yes.
Something like that.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So it'll still do well, but it's made $50 million less in the U.S. than Avatar: Way of Water did in opening weekend. And basically like as we're recording this, we're still in the time period where we do not know if this movie will do well enough to justify the completion of the next Avatar. And I think James Cameron has said, like, if this one makes enough money, I can make more of them. And but he's also said a lot of things like maybe I don't need to make more of them. I don't know. But I guess I'm just saying there's a possibility we may have reached the limits of Avatar mania, like people's willingness to come back to this world. I don't know. Maybe like check back in like 8 weeks and the movie's made, a gajillion, like $3 billion. And this looks very stupid what I'm saying right now. But
I also worry that it's more about movies.
Yeah,
than it is
absolutely.
Avatar.
Absolutely.
That there isn't
but like
a
if
movie.
they're not coming to this, Jeff, right? Like
That's
what are
what
they
I'm-
going to
yeah.
come for? What are they going to come for?
That's my point. Is
Yeah.
that it's not that they're not coming to this; it's that they're not coming.
Yeah. All right. Despite everything we've just said, at the end of the day, it is extremely impressive that James Cameron made a movie. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.